Hey guys, Waterfowler41 here, and in today's slightly controversial video, we're going to be installing some caliper covers on my Ram Rebel. So a couple days ago, I installed the Brink Fangs with some new Nido Recon grapplers. Absolutely love the way they look on the truck, but I wanted to add a little bit of pop behind the wheels. And now that I have 20-inch wheels, I added some room behind there, so now we could do a little bit more with the brakes. Since this is our family car, I'm driving to hockey, driving to Costco, dropping the kids off at school, whatnot, I don't need a crazy brake upgrade on this. The absolutely massive brakes that come on this truck from the factory are perfectly fine for me. But what I wanted to do is add a little bit of color to them, and I really don't like painting calipers because I think that just kind of looks weird. And it's 90% prep, 10% actually painting, and I don't really have the time for that. So what I went ahead and did is I picked up a set of Rough Country brake caliper covers. So these are one of 3 caliper covers that are available on the market today for these 5th gen trucks. So there are the MGP covers, there's CCI, and then there's the Rough Country ones. Obviously the MGP ones are those aluminum plates that basically bolt onto the front of the caliper. They have those little fake bolts painted on there. To me they look kind of chintzy, and they're a lot of money for what they are. Then you have the CCI ones, which I believe don't fit with any wheel other than 20-inch wheels on these Rams, and I don't even know if they sell them for the Rams. I know they sell them for Dodges, so I would assume that they have some for the Rams. But I landed on these for 2 reasons. One, these look really good. For a caliper cover, you got some pretty physically prominent bolts. You got a bleeder valve, you got a little fake hose here. Pretty cool, and they mechanically fasten to the actual caliper themselves. So there's no sticking, there's no magnets or whatnot. So something inside the wheel that's rotating at a couple thousand RPMs, you want, something that's not going to move around on there. Also, $170 for 4 of these. So you get a front, you get a rear for both the front wheels and the back wheels. You can't beat the price on these guys, and they look pretty cool. So did a little reviewing on these things, try to look around, see if anyone had any bad comments to say about anything brake caliper covers, and I couldn't find anything that had any weight to it. So people say, oh, caliper covers are going to increase the heat, they're not going to allow the heat to dissipate off your brakes, and you're going to have brake fade and whatnot. Again, I'm not tracking this thing. I don't think that's ever going to be an issue. So went ahead, picked them up. Worst thing, if they cause any issues or whatnot to the brakes, or if they, if I notice any performance improvement or any impact to the performance, I can just take them off. It's literally 1 screw. You obviously get 2 front ones. They're the front because of the massive ones. 2 rear caliper covers, and then you get the installation kit. So it's a little tiny wrench, a hex head, and then you get an extra bolt with some Loctite on it, and then a nut just in case you lose the ones that are on here. But as far as installing these guys, it's super simple. So the bottom of it clips right onto the caliper pin housing, and then the top of it does the same thing, and then you just tighten that bolt. It pinches everything close in together, and then it holds everything nice and sound. So these are nice and skinny. They're not going to really cause any issues. They're not going to get in the way of the brake caliper or brake rotor spinning. So super simple installation, but let's go ahead and get at it. So what we're going to do is work on the front wheel first. We're just going to pop that guy off, and then I'll show you how to install the caliper cover, put everything back on. We'll work on the rear, and then we'll take a look at what this guy looks like in daylight. So let's do it. All right, so we have the front of the truck completely jacked up. I use my little scissor factory lift just to get the wheel up off the ground enough, and then I use my hydraulic lift, and then I put a jack stand in there just for safekeeping. The reason I use that little scissor lift is because there's a lot of travel in my FabTech kit, and I kind of max out this guy. So what I'll do is I'll start underneath the control arm with this little guy, and then I'll pick up a little bit, like 1 more inch of lift from this guy just to jack it up just a little bit. It's enough to get the tire up off the ground, and then with enough jack stands, everything's safe and sound. So the way these covers work, like I said, they have these little clips. So there's a clip on the bottom, and then there's a clip on the top. Those clips just grab onto right here, and then right down here. So we're gonna hook it on the bottom, and we're gonna swing that guy and just slide them right on here, and then we're gonna tighten up that bolt, so then it just pinches everything together, and it'll cover up the factory brakes. Before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and clean everything off just to make sure we got all whatever dust in there, and then we'll show you how to install this guy. But it's super simple. So you pop that guy on there, then use the Allen wrench and the wrench that comes in the kit just to tighten everything up, and since it has Loctite, you're good to go. So let's go ahead and get this guy cleaned up, and then get the Rough Country caliper cover slipped on there. All right, now that we got the caliper itself cleaned off a little bit, we're gonna go ahead and slip our Rough Country cover on there. The top is the side that has the adjustable, or the, I guess, the bolt that you're going to screw in. You also know it's the top because there's this fake bleeder valve there, and then that little hole, or that brake line on the bottom, goes on the bottom of the caliper, so it's going to go down here. So again, what we're doing is hooking these little sheet metal hooks onto the actual pin housing that the pins for the caliper themselves slide in and out of. So we're going to start on the bottom. Just pop it in like that. Then this guy just slides on, and there we go. So now it's on. So now the last thing we got to do is just tighten this guy using the supplied tools. Super simple. I tried to use my own, but this is a nice flat wrench, and it actually works out perfect for this guy. So we're going to use the 8mm side, and then get this started. All right, so we are installed. These things are solid on there. And like I said, all you got to do is just clip that little bottom part around the bottom caliper pin post here, and then slide this portion on. Make sure the top bracket is grabbing the pin, I guess, post soundly, and then just tighten this bad boy down. So we're gonna clean this up, put the wheel back on, and we'll take a look at how well this looks. But I think it looks sweet. So like I said, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I really like these, and for my application, adding a little bit of red pop to there is perfect. It's gonna look great with those wheels. So let's get the wheels put back on. All right, so the wheels back on, and truck is lowered, and truck wheels are looking great. So like I said, caliper covered, 1 bolt, super simple install. Remove the wheel, install the cover, put the wheel back on. Make sure after you're done with the wheel, you torque everything down to 150 foot-pounds. Now let's start on the rear. All right, so we have fronts done. Now we got the rear jacked up. We got the rear wheel off. We got our safety jack stands underneath the truck. We are good to go. Everything looks nice. Got our core 4x4 upper and lower rear control arms. Got our FabTech rear shock. Got our MotoFab 1-inch rear spacer. Everything is looking pretty dope in the back here. Now let's clean up that brake caliper. So, unlike the fronts, the rears are much easier to put on if you actually take the bracket apart, because it's kind of a tight fit. So if you take this apart, it gives you enough play with this guy to actually clamp it onto here. So the caliper, cover slips on same way. So you got the bottom bracket, you got the top bracket. You know it's the top because you got that fake bleeder up here. And it's going to clip onto here. So there's another section right underneath the caliper right here that this guy's going to clip onto. But again, easiest way to do this is take this bolt off so you could remove this bracket, slip it on, and then you can reinstall this guy after the fact. So let's go ahead and get this guy off here, get him thrown onto the rear caliper, and tighten everything up. All right, so we're gonna start with installing it. And like I said, the easiest way to do that is to just remove that the bolt and the nut holding this little bracket on here. By removing that, it gives it a lot more room for flexibility when installing this guy. So we're gonna pop underneath here. Make sure that guy's cinched down. We're gonna grab our nut and bolt, drop them right there. All right, so the rear calipers are completely installed. Like I said, the easiest way is to actually remove the top bracket and then reinstall it once the caliper cover's on the truck itself. It's a really tight fit, and the rear calipers are just a little bit of a goofy shape, so it's just easier to do that. But everything looks nicely. Like I said, it pops nicely with the core 4x4. It's almost like it's the same red powder coating. So let's go ahead and get the wheel put back on. Let's get the truck pulled out of the garage and take a look at these guys in the daylight. All right, so we got the truck out in daylight. Take a look at the rough country brake caliper covers, and they look great. So there's the rear wheel. Let's quickly go up to the front wheel. And they look awesome. So again, on the white and black Ram Rebel, the red definitely pops, so they match nicely with my core 4x4 control arms back there. But with that said, thank you very much for watching. Take care.